Hi, welcome to today's morning report on Monday, the 8th of February, with me, Rich Pro, market analyst at Handset Markets. European Tesla has actually got off to, well, a bit of an odd start actually. It started off fairly solidly actually, fairly just with slight gains on the European stock markets, and then subsequently traders have started to seriously target to the downside again, which is a little bit strange because we've got no real steer from China. You've got China's New Year this week, and so they're off public holiday all week. And the Asian markets didn't really do a great deal. They were fairly flat. Nikkei was up 1.1% actually. We had a weaker Nikkei. Sorry, a weaker Japanese yen, which certainly helped to support the Nikkei early on. But there's been a big turnaround in sentiment, and whether it's come through the realization or the continued concern that Chinese FX reserves continue to flood out the country, as they try to support the yuan. It's an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure that there's no real specific driver behind the selling pressure that's come through. Really, States on Friday night sold off into the close after that payrolls data, but again nothing too significant. And we've got a fairly sort of settled oil price today as well. So the two main drivers, China and oil, are not really doing the driving force behind this move today. So it's a bit of an odd one, but just have a watch out on that because we're starting to see some key levels possibly tested. Certainly the FTSE 100 is coming up towards key support, and it'll be interesting to see if that gets broken. But you're seeing also treasury yields, which are fairly flat. I mean, the 10-year, if I zoom in here, 10-year is day low, but not too significantly lower. 2-year as well, day low, but again not really significantly lower either. So just the equity markets really are just really getting a pounding this morning. FX markets, for example, are basically flat. You're not really seeing any real movement on the dollar. Euro slightly higher, sterling's bang on flat. The yen is now coming back to flat, but the commodity prices commodity currencies are benefiting quite a lot. The oil price is actually reasonably settled, as I said today. So it's an interesting moves that we've seen in these equity markets. There's no real data today either, so it'll be there's a sort of as I said, the markets are sort of trading off technicals rather than any sort of economic data-driven moves that we've got today. And certainly the momentum at the moment is negative on equities, but fairly solid, it's fairly stable on currencies. So that takes me to my chart of the day, which is the euro yen. Now, euro yen is a key chart, is a key big downtrend actually. Big downtrend channel that we've seen for the last sort of 6-8 months really on the euro yen, and it's once again it's rallied back towards this big downtrend, and it looks to be falling away. And you've had a series of sort of negative candles in the last few days actually. Sort of you've had this sort of doji. Well, it's not a massively negative candle. That was a doji, but obviously we had the attempt to the upside that got sold into. Again, Friday's move was lower, and I think what you're going to see is testing of the 130 support area. And the thing that concerns me, obviously, are these momentum indicators that are now rolling over. The stochastics have given a confirmed sell signal, and you're now seeing a sort of sequence of lower highs on this daily chart, which if I can show you ultimately on the hourly chart, if it ever comes up. On the hourly chart, you can see these sequence of lower highs, and you've now sort of rolled under the moving averages on the hourly chart. And I think you're putting pressure on the downside because I think rallies are being sold into. The latest resistance comes in around 131 figure, and I'd be using that as a reference point. That is a sort of bit of an old pivot level, isn't it? And certainly if you need to break back above the 131.65 reaction high that we saw on Thursday. But as I said, pressure seems to be mounting on this sort of 130 figure. Big support there, and if that gets broken to the downside, there's not a massive amount of support really that you can see back towards sort of 129 area, which is the old breakout, and back into this band of trading between 127 and 129 area. So that's where I would say that this chart looks to be coming back into at the moment. and this big downtrend channel sort of remains intact and continues to drag it lower. Now that would suggest yen strength against the euro, which generally speaking is not market positive. So if you're playing a market bearish position, sort of selling euro yen is not against your strategy. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.